Hello everyone, welcome to the next walkthrough. This one happens to be on the Maserati MC20. As you can see, I already started the initial sketch, erased it, and going back in, filling in fine details. I really like the gull wing doors on this vehicle, and after completing the drawing, I really grew to like the body lines as well. What do you think of the new Maserati MC20? Drop a comment down below. Most common question I've been asked here lately is how I draw so well, and I'm really not sure anymore because I've done it for so long, I just do it. I've been drawing for approximately 20 years or so. Since I was a little kid, I picked up a pencil and started sketching cars, and I haven't stopped since. I'm gonna start by coloring the doors here, and I chose to start here because it's like the middle of the vehicle, and I just try to get as much done in the big sections at a time as possible. And also, I wanted to play around with the colors while I worked on that door, trying to get that satin black color. Next, I'll be adding a little bit of the shadow of the mirror on the door, and then working my way down to the bottom where there's like a shiny section of the door. You'll see me working on that in just a little bit, but right now I'm going to be working on the small detail around this little side piece on that door, and then also there's a little trim piece that says MC20 on it that I struggled with getting the letters to look perfect, so I had to repeat doing it several times. So as you can see, I had to play around with the colors a little bit to get the satin look, but then also the gloss black sections. A little bit of light blue to show the reflection of the sky. Some dark lines for contrast. Lastly, the outline on the bottom of the door. Not much to show on the interior, but use some 50% gray, some 30% gray, and black, little blending, white highlights to get that door jamb to look just right. Add in a little detail of the scoop. Now moving on to the rear quarter panel. This section right here is where it really matters, where the shading and shadowing comes into play, and blending really good and being smart with where you blend to get that shape of the rear quarter panel, because there is no reflections. It's satin, so there's smooth light to dark. Next up, moving on to the front quarter panel. Same thing, smart with the blending. A little darker this time on the front. You can see I'm using a little bit of cream and French gray here because there's some warm light shining down on that front fender. Now you're going to say, what the heck is up with this blue streak on the front bumper? But I promise you it's part of the sky that's kind of just shining a bit on the front of the vehicle. And then we're going to blend it in with some 70% gray, black, and some 90% gray. Give it that smooth, just a little bit of blue color. Next, I'll be shading in the hood, which isn't much to write home about. It's more about the colors, that warm shading with a little bit of gray, and then detailing with the sharp black lines. What do you think about satin painted cars? Do you like it? I personally don't. I want to see a car shine. Drop your comment down below and we'll talk about it. Not much to talk about here, just fine precision details, shadowing, crispness. And no, I don't mean the holiday in December. Next, I'll be working on the headlights. Not much to talk about there. Just focusing on the headlight build itself, the crisp lines, and the shadowing. And then on top, all the highlights. Next, I'll be working on the lower grills, and you're gonna miss it, but I'm gonna crosshatch the paper here with an inkless pen, and then go over with black pencil. Yeah, just like that. See how that just pops out like that? It's a great technique. I like to use it quite often. I'm going to use it again up front here, but not as much and not the same way because this grill is curved and all of the mesh has a curve to it, and I think you can kind of see it there. Now working on the faraway door. Doesn't look like much, but it's important to get those crisp dark lines to outline it and shadowing right so it looks like it's on the other side of the vehicle and it's not just this thing sticking up in the air. Next, some side glass. Like to use this pale sage color. Kind of gives it that nice little hue of it is glass without looking too cartoonish. Always alcohol markers on the windshield and then color over top with some whites or light grays. Then black and 90% cool gray to add the wipers, and then any reflections that are showing on the front windshield like the side door and stuff like that. Here I'm going to sketch out the wheel and then fill it in with marker. I don't always use marker, but on this particular wheel I decided to do marker because it was easier to add in the fine details afterwards because everything is dark except for the 3 spokes on the face of the wheel. Surprisingly, for such a simple wheel, there was a lot of detail and some reflections of the sky. Now for some fine lines and shadows, making sure I capture all the depth that I can to make the vehicle and the wheel look 3D. Next I'll do the back wheel. Started with fully markered there and then went with highlights instead of shadows, and then worked inverse. Rear wheel is always easiest because it's so far from the camera, there's not a whole lot of detail. Now some alcohol markers for the shadow underneath, and then I top off the shadow with a little bit of colored pencil, blend it all in. Now one thing new that I've started is after I've sprayed the vehicle with the protective spray, I'll go back and do all the little white highlights. You'll see in the final video all the white highlights and everything just pops, and that's because I've touched up everything after the spray. And that's it, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you all for watching.